Hey guys, pretty cold today, even in my garage. You can see that from my breath. Today I'm gonna talk about this piece of metal, which is a CB650 custom. I bought it crashed. It had bent forks and the front light was scratched, and some lids on the engine were scratched, and indicators were scratched, and the brake fluid reservoir was scratched. Basically, it fell on the right side. The previous owner told me that his father crashed it and crashed in a deer, and then laid the bike, and then he decided to sell it. So I bought it very cheap. I bought some new forks and brake lever and the lid on the other side where the ignition is, and replaced everything, and basically it's almost ready to run. But unfortunately, there is a strange noise audible from the engine when I started, which I'll do later, and I have to find out what it is, because it really is not very healthy noise. What I did with the bike is I disassembled the carburetors, I cleaned them, I synchronized them, I replaced the intake boots because there were holes in them, and the bike didn't hold the idle RPM. I also did a valve clearance on it, but I think I will have to redo it again. I changed the spark plugs, obviously, and I changed the chain and the sprockets because the chain was really worn. It has theoretically it has 50,000 kilometers on the clock. I think it has more, but doesn't matter. It's a nice 4-cylinder air-cooled bike, so and the sound is beautiful. So I would really like to keep this bike for short distance driving. And I forgot to say it's a 1980 production year, so kind of a vintage bike. So let's take a closer look at it. So the chain and the rear sprocket as well as the front sprocket is brand new. I bought a DID chain. Unfortunately, back in the 1990s, they probably made chains which were disconnected, and the owner connected the parts of the chain on the bike. But this chain was as one piece in a loop, so I had to disassemble the swing arm in order to get the chain in, which was quite a funny job, but finally I managed it. So now the chain is in, and as for the final drive, it's ready to go. The light I bought was originally from the US model, which is quite funny because in America they didn't use H4 bulbs, but the whole thing here was a bulb, in fact. So I had to leave this scratch here. This was from the fall, but the outside of the light is new, so it is okay now. Also, I bought a new speedometers, and I changed the covers here because they were scratched as well. Here on the indicator, also some visible damage here. I will have to change it. And here I changed the brake fluid reservoir as well, because it was scratched, like almost one fifth of the reservoir was scratched and was gone. The lever is still to be changed as well. This lid on the right side was scratched as well, so I bought a new one and replaced that. While it was open, I did the ignition timing check. It was basically okay, but I just rechecked it because I didn't know what the bike was, what was the condition of the bike, and it was really running very poorly. And I sort of hoped that the strange noise will disappear, but it didn't. Also, the valve cover here leaks a bit, so I will have to buy a new seals and replace them again, and I will do the valve clearance as well. I think that the cam chain is sort of loose. I tried to tighten it with this bolt in the middle of the engine, but it didn't work out. So someday, maybe in summer, maybe next winter, when I take out the engine and tear it apart, I will check the chain. As a result of the fall, also the exhaust is scratched here, but I will probably leave it as it is. It's just a minor damage. The seat is not there. I have it, of course, but it's not there now because I will. I had to lift the tank in order to get to the throttle cables and to the choke cable, because after changing the carburetor boots for new ones, which are here, the intake boots, the engine didn't start at all. Yesterday I was struggling with it, reading forums and information about carbs, and finally, after all, I found out that the choke cable and the choke mechanism here didn't close the intake of the carb fully, and basically there was too much air for the engine to start in temperatures below zero. So I will have to solve that, but while starting, at the moment I have to pull the choke cable and the choke knob and hold it in order to start it. So let's try to start the engine.